To the talkers, where dreams take flight. LaynneTalks leads us through the night.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. LaynneTalks here. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and whatever time or whatever day you are watching this, may it be wonderful. I am here with another random tutorial. No, this is not turning into a tutorial channel. When I see a need for one, I make one if I can, and this is one of them. Are you like me and use the Prism model? Are you ready to pull your hair out with this version 2 update? Did you maybe cry a little bit and get a little frustrated and all this other stuff with the latest Prism update? Me too. Okay. Now that the crying and the minor bitching has subsided for me, I noticed that a lot of people were having some issues with this model and essentially relearning customizable models from this version 2 update. Here is your warning. This will be a long video, but fear not, I will be putting chapters into this, which you can click down in the description box below to figure out which chapter goes where. So if you have something specific that you want to focus on for your model in this particular case, don't worry, go to the description box. You can click on it and go directly to that point. You don't have to watch however long this video is. But this will be an overall tutorial because I think a lot of us need it. So hopefully this works out. There's going to be a section for brand new users, so people who are completely brand new to customizable and especially the Prism model and how to work things, which might still be good for those of you who are used to the old version of the Prism model. So feel free to watch that if you'd like as a brush up. There's also going to be some minor bug fixes chapters. There's going to be chapters in there if you don't wish to use the Prism Closet, which we will get more into later. There's going to be some other fixes and bug fixes that I've noticed just within that Discord and put it all in concise into one video for us visual learners. With that also being said, if you are not a visual learner and mostly an auditory learner, I do recommend going to Vesper Nestia's tutorial. She has a wonderful guide that she created for this update, and it is completely audio learning, and I will put her link in that description box below as well. So yeah, that's going to be it for my intro yapping. I'm going to go ahead and dive into everything. Again, there's chapters, and I'm sorry it's long. If you watch the full video, thank you. If you watch certain chapters, thank you. Either way, I hope you enjoy, and I hope this helps and makes you want to pull your hair out a little less. You've decided to watch this from the beginning. Bless you. We're going to start off with what customizable models are. Customizable models are a great way for people to enter the VTubing industry without spending upwards of $1,000+ on the high end or roughly $300 on the low end to start VTubing with a customized model that is made specifically for them and their ideals. If you have a little bit more of a simple design or you just want to tip your toe into the waters and test VTubing, these customizable models are a great way to go. Usually under the realm of $200 USD. I don't know conversions, don't ask. But usually underneath that, these custom models are great for you to go ahead and get into. We're going to specifically talk about this Prism model made by Akizone and Mizi that has a little over 3,200 sales on it. So if you are looking for more in-depth about customizable models, there's a wonderful VTuber out there called Vesper Nestia. I will link her channel down below. Go ahead and check her out if you want to look at some of the other amazing customizable models that are out there. She also has a wonderful link for upcoming ones that she is personally watching out for, but also has some amazing videos of displays of these customizable models. Now, you know what customizable models are. Congratulations. Now on to the next one. We are going to be talking specifically again about this Prism model and a little bit more in depth, a tutorial on this Prism model update. Now, if you are new, this will be easy for you as you are new to customizable models, and we're going to go over in depth on that. If you are not new, please go ahead and skip ahead in those chapters because this is all going to be a little redundant to you. However, if you are new to the update as well, this is still very good for you to listen to because we're going to go over how to go ahead with the customized options, including with this version 2 update of the Prism model. Now it is time to get into the how-to of the Prism model. Now, reminder, if you guys have the V1 of this Prism Customizable VTuber model, you can go ahead and skip ahead in the chapters to know how to integrate your already pre-existing settings and moving them over from V1 to V2. But this is going to be specifically for people who have not used the V1 versions and are solely working on the V2 versions and how to navigate that. You're still more than welcome to watch because obviously watch time is great, but to save yourself some time as well, if you just want to learn how to transfer things, you can go ahead and skip ahead in those chapters below. But hi, for all of the newbies, welcome in. We're so happy that you have joined the Prism Customizable VTuber model community. I'm not a lead, I'm just saying welcome because it feels right. Okay, anyway, moving on. You have downloaded. Now, if you have not already purchased the Prism model and you would like to, the VGen and the Coffee links are going to be down in the description box. For this video specifically, and because I have more experience with VGen, we are going to be doing this from the VGen perspective. However, both links are still valid if you wish to purchase it from your preferred site. Now, getting into it, you have purchased the Prism Customizable VTuber model and you have these downloaded files. Before we get into exactly the step-by-step on how you are going to obtain this model, we are going to go over some really important key points before doing so. That being setting up a backup file. Okay, so setting up backup files is not necessary. So if you do not care about this, go ahead and skip ahead. However, I do highly recommend setting up backup files for anything and everything that you set up into VTube Studio. Just because it is easy to have. Also, it's easier to transfer if you may update your PC or if you need to locate those files and God forbid something happens and VTube Studio ends up corrupt. Hasn't happened to me and it hasn't happened to a lot of people, but it's always good and always safe to set up a backup. So what do I mean by backup? You open up your file explorer. It's the little file folder button on your computer. You open up your file explorer, find an area if you have multiple memories, sticks. There's a technical name that I forgot and I'm too lazy to re-record right now. So with that being, memory sticks, I have a local disk C and a local disk E. If you have an external drive, that's great too. Or if you just have one and you're just like, I'm just going to put it somewhere else on my PC, cool. Find a location that is not VTube Studio on your PC. A good place that I typically put it, or have told people to put it in the past, is in the documents. What you're going to want to do is go into that documents, create a new folder, and label this VTube Studio Backup, or VTS Backup for short, and leave it there. Now you can open multiple tabs in your file explorer, and this is what I do recommend doing when we go into actually installing the VTuber model, because it is going to be useful. But for now, that's all you need to do in setting up a backup. Just set up the file folder so you have a location for it. If you're a little organized freak like I am, I would set up a folder within that one that says models, one within that one that says items, just to keep things more simple and you don't have to dig through things later. I find that easier for me, but that is completely up to you. Basics, just create the backup folder and you have it saved in a tab on your file explorer. Now we're going to get into what to do when you're downloading the VTuber model. Now that you've set up your backups location, let's go ahead and get into how to download this Prism model. Now, when you go into your downloads, you are going to see a zipped file for this model. And when you open it, you're not going to see anything but a text file or a text document. That is okay. It is not a mess up. You didn't download anything incorrectly. This is going to have instructions on how to obtain this model. The way they did the reason they did this is because they have to do it through a Google Drive due to the sheer size of what this is all going to take, which we'll go into in depth why it's so big later on. You're going to open up that text document, find that Google Drive link, copy and paste it into your browser your browser. It's okay. It's going to pop up with Google can't confirm this if you're doing it on Google. I don't know what Firefox shows up as, but it's going to show up as can't confirm, might be a virus, and you have an option to download it anyway. Click that download anyway button. Now going back into your file explorer, you're going to then see another zip file. And if you open that, you will then see 2 more folders and a text document. The text document is going to tell you to read it first, and that is because it's going to give you some instructions on kind of just how things are going to be moving forward with the Prism model. You are new to Prism, maybe not new to VTube Studio, but you're new to Prism. It does recommend you using version 1.4, but for the sake of simplicity, even though 1.04 is easier, if you plan to continue with updates for outfits or just for rigging and expressions, still use the version 2. That's why you have this tutorial. I'm going to walk you through how to use it. It is a lot more complicated than the version 1, but if you want to stay updated on outfits that they're coming out with it, or if you want to stay updated with any rigging updates, or if you want to stay updated even just with the expressions that they are adding, it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve, but I do recommend sticking with the V2 because going forward, that is what AkiZone and Mizi are going to be putting their focus on for updates. With that being said, we are still going to take everything from this folder and move it to our backups. There's a few different ways that you can do this. For the sake of simplicity, I just open that zip file. I press Control A. I press Control C. I go to that additional tab on the File Explorer, locate my backup folder, open that, and press Control V. That's going to move everything over that you downloaded from that zip file into and have a copy of it. This is different, however, than what you are going to input into the VTube Studio location. So be mindful of that. And we are going to move on to how to add this version 2 specifically into VTube Studio. Now the fun part is actually adding this download to your VTube Studio. Now you will have to do this, and this is where, again, those multiple tabs in the File Explorer become really, really handy. I would open up another one, locate where your Steam library is. Now this is different for other people. If you have a C drive, E drive, or anything like that, whatever you have your Steam downloaded on, you are going to locate it through there. Some people can find it through their program files and selecting Steam. I personally have it underneath Steam library. I don't know why it's set up that way for me, but it is. But this is, again, where those tabs come in handy. So you want to be doing this particular portion in a separate tab in the File Explorer, or if tabs are too much for you, go ahead and open a separate window. Anyway, you're going to open up your program files and find Steam, or if you're like me and have it set up where it has a Steam library, open up your Steam library folder. You will then see a folder indicated called Steam Apps. Open that. At the top, which should be at the top if it's sorted by name, which it is by default, you should see a folder that says Common. We want to then click on that folder. Scrolling down to the bottom, you'll see another folder. Because it starts with a V, it's going to be at the end of the alphabet. It's going to say VTube Studio. We are then going to open up that folder. From there, you will locate the folder that says VTube Studio _data. From there, you are then going to locate the Streaming Assets folder. This folder is where you're going to find all of those assets, all of your models, all of the items, effects, item scenes, backups. They have a backup in there already, which you are more than welcome to use. However, I prefer having a separate location away from Steam should something happen, which is why we had that set up earlier. But you're going to have a ton of different folders in here. The ones that we are going Live 2D models folder and the items folder. Right now, we are going to only add the Prism model to VTube Studio. So we are going to open that Live 2D models folder and have it just kind of sitting there for a second. In your other File Explorer window or tab, you're going to open up that backups, because remember earlier we made that backup folder that has all of that fun stuff in there for what we downloaded, right? You're going to, from your backups folder, click on the Prism, the custom underscore Prism underscore v2.0 folder. There are two different types. There's a 2K and a 4K version for this. For the purpose of this video, I will be using the 2K version, but note that anything that I say is 2K is also applicable to the 4K because I personally use 4K. But again, for the purpose of this video, we'll be using the 2K. We are then going to click on the custom underscore prism underscore main underscore 2K, and we're going to Control C or right click copy this file folder. In your Live 2D Models tab in your File Explorer, the one that we went through a bunch of folders to locate, or in the other window, you are then going to click on that tab and then Control V that 2K Prism model into this Live 2D Models folder. And that's all we're going to do for right now for the model. We're going to go over and then do the same thing that we did for the model, but slightly different for that plain 2K folder. Now we are going to implement the items, which is what your body is going to be for this model, into the items section. For that being, we are going to go back into the Live 2D Models folder, and we're going to go back one. If you look into your File Explorer at the top, it's going to show streaming assets and a little arrow, then a little arrow, and then Live 2D Models. If you hover over streaming assets, you'll notice that you can click on that. Go ahead and click on it, and it's going to take you back one file folder, which is great. Super easy to locate it without having to go through clicking all the folders again. Now you're going to locate the items folder in that streaming assets. For me, it's about 3 folders up. Should be about the same for you. But you're going to go ahead and click and open that items folder and let it sit there for a second. In your backup files, we are then going to locate the 2K, because remember we were already in here to copy and paste that 2K model into the actual models. So you should still have that one open. You'll find the folder that says just 2K. This is where things get a little bit not complicated, but you cannot just copy this folder. We are going to have to open this folder, and you're going to see a ton of other folders inside of it. It's going to look really daunting. I promise you'll be okay. Now within this folder, you are going to Control A. That should select all of the folders within this file. Once you have selected all of those folders, you're going to Control C or right click copy and go back to that File Explorer tab labeled items. In this items folder, you can press Control V or you can right click paste into this and put all of those folders that you just copied into this items folder. It is really, really important that you go into this 2K file and copy and paste them as each individual ones, rather than trying to copy and paste that entire 2K folder, because things are not going to communicate right with VTube Studio the way that they need to for this to work. You have now added all of the files to VTube Studio as well as backed them up. Now, we are not done quite yet with your File Explorer. You should be able to close down the Downloads tab if you haven't already, and close down the VTube Studio tab, and keep open your backups. This will be important later. Now, before we get into actually opening up VTube Studio and having some fun, I want to have you guys go back to that File Explorer tab that I told you to keep open. Now, once you have that open, it should show you the same 2K, 4K, the main 2K, main 4K documents. You're going to see two files at the end. You're going to see an application file and an MP4 file. The Prism V2 tutorial is in there if you would like to watch that. That is how Meezy and AkiZone, that is a tutorial that they made, but both are applicable. You are also more than welcome to leave this video from this point on and watch their tutorial, or you can continue watching me if you like slightly chaotic commentary. With that being said, we are going to be focusing on this one that is called the Prism Closet. Now, this does not open automatically with VTube Studio, so I'm going to show you a little shortcut that makes it easier for you not having to go through all of your folders and find it again. It makes it just a quick accessible because it is not an automatically opening application. In the backup file, like I said, you're going to see that Prism Closet 0.5.5 or 4, and you're going to right click. Now, underneath that right click, you're going to show more options, and then down towards the bottom, right above delete, there is a wonderful tool called Create Shortcut. As you can see, I have already created mine, but if you create that shortcut, it's going to create a shortcut to that application and save it in this folder automatically. You then are going to take that shortcut and drag it to your desktop or your taskbar to pin it, and now you have a short, easy, shortcut way of opening that application without having to dig through your files every time, but also an easier way for you to have it handy and available and open when you're using it within VTube Studio. Now, to get into VTube Studio. Now to get into the fun part, actually building the model in VTube Studio. Once you have VTube Studio open, yes, my VTube Studio is open. It's what my background is in VTube Studio for how I use it in OBS. But we are going to go ahead and double click on the screen and open our VTube Studio settings. Then click on the Change VTS model. Now, when you click on this, a whole bunch of different models are going to show up and be displayed down at the bottom that you can go ahead and use both the samples. If you are brand new to VTube Studio, you might not have a whole bunch like I do. However, if you are, then this long list of side-scrolling model options, you're very much used to it. We're going to go ahead and click on the custom Prism model. We're going to ignore the tails for right now and the wings, but we're going to go ahead and click on this 2K one right here. When you load yours, you should not see that. That is because I have both versions, the V1 and V2. Now, when it loads, you are going to see a magical floating head. Hi, with a bunch of words in front of it and above it. Don't worry, we're going to get rid of those with these customizations, and I'm going to walk through that with you. So in order to get to the point where you can customize this lovely base head, you're going to go ahead and go into your settings tab, which is the pink cogwheel. And then within the settings tab, you're going to open up automatically to the general settings. Now in the upper right hand corner, you're going to have 4 different settings. You're going to have your VTube Studio general settings, camera settings, which is this little camera, model settings, which is going to show a little model and a cogwheel above the head, and these hotkeys, which is the Hollywood sign. Okay, we are going to go into this Hollywood sign, the hotkey settings and expressions. Within that as well, we are going to go into this lovely button. It's pretty close to the top. It says Expressions Editor. And then create new expression, press select, and you are going to load into the expression editor. This is where you're going to customize this model to be exactly how you want it for your VTuber. In order to get rid of the Prism Customizable model watermark up at the top, we're going to go ahead and clear this by moving this sliding bar all the way to the end. It does also get rid of those words. Now you cannot see it on my screen because I have a black background, but there is going to be little triangles right here and I believe down here. That you are going to remove those by using this AkiZone_Meezy. It's to make sure that they are providing proper credit. And it's great. We know that they made it, but we don't want that on there while we're streaming or making content, right? But it is okay. We're allowed to do that. That's why they put the slide bar. Now, this is the fun part. This is where you get to fully customize your floating head. We'll get to the body in a little bit. In order to customize this, we're going to use this only head toggle here as an example. It is all the way over to 10. However, if you slide it all the way to 0, you have a neck and shoulders option. And that's much how the rest, you can also have just a solid neck or nothing. We're going to stick with nothing for right now. And this is how you're going to customize much of everything else, like the hair, the eyes. The type looks actually pretty detailed in what you can customize in this model. For the sake of time, I am going to go ahead and do a quick little montage where I customize this model. Now, once you have done all of that, you're going to name the expression. You cannot save all of those customized options that you just did to create your vtuber head until you provide a name for it. So please make sure that you name that, otherwise you will lose all that progress and you can't save. Some people prefer to put the name first, so in case it closes, they are able to save their progress and start over again. However, I like to name my characters later because I go based off of vibes and how I'm gonna make it before I do anything else. So we did name this character Lyralei Abyssal. Once you have the name in here and you have finished all your customizations, you're gonna go ahead and press this save button right here. Then you go ahead and press done after this pop-up comes up, because it's going to prompt you to either make a new one, turn or turn off, and create all hotkeys for expressions. You can go ahead and just click done. Now you're going to see this Prism base model again with all of the important legality stuff that they have there. Don't worry, you did not save it incorrectly, and it also saved. Now we're going to go ahead and toggle our characters on. We're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom of these expressions and find this plus button right here. I'm going to go ahead and press that, and we're going to go ahead and name this hotkey the name of our character. In this case, we're going to do Lyralei Abyssal. Next, we're going to select. Okay. Select the hotkey action button where it says set/unset expressions. EXP3 right here. It's the third one down from the top, and press select. Next, we are going to select the expression, which is the expression that you just made. So if you go into the expressions tab, scroll all the way down, most likely it'll be at the bottom. This is an alphabetical order. So you should be able to find it pretty easily. Mine starts with an L, so mine's going to be down at the bottom. Go ahead, press select, and then we're going to record a key combination. This is your hot key. So you are going to go ahead and record anything that fits you. For the purpose of this example and for this model, I'm going to go ahead and do Control-Alt-Number-Pad 1, which means all three of those need to be pressed in order for this to activate and show Lyralei. So we're going to go ahead and press that, and boom! Your character's head is there. We're going to now go ahead and get into the body, but we cannot get into the body portion yet without first going over the Prism Closet. So we're going to go ahead and go over that, and you're going to see a little floating head here for a little bit. So you have created your floating head, and now you are ready to create the body. You're more than welcome to stay a floating head as a VTuber. I think that'd actually be quite interesting, but we all like having bodies. It's kind of nice. With that being said, though, before we get into creating the body, I want to go over being the fact, if you are uncomfortable using this Prism Closet application, don't worry, there's another wonderful VTuber who made a tutorial already for you to set this up with the bodies as items rather than utilizing this Prism Closet application. Mostly because it makes some people uncomfortable using a brand new application that is incredibly brand new, released 2 days ago, mind you, not even yesterday, the 20th of December, and it's the 21st, so it's been out for less than 12 hours, at least from my experience. We know it can make people a little uncomfortable creating and using applications that you're unfamiliar with, and especially downloading something completely unknown onto your PC. So, like I said, this wonderful VTuber, I'm saying the name wrong, but I believe it's pronounced Siluno, S-I-L-U-N-O. They go by Sil, though, for a lot of their nicknames. So we're going to go ahead and call them Sil for the purpose right now. I will put the link in their description down below for a full tutorial on how to kind of avoid using this closet application if it makes you uncomfortable, and also include that for you to be able to use it as an item and set it up so that way it moves properly with your head. The second thing I want to go over with in order to use this Prism application, this Prism Closet application, is you are going to have to open it. So we're going to go to boop, 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 boop. Open it. Yay! Mine is already set up, but when you first see it, you're going to have a little pop-up that says something along the lines of you need to update the API and make sure that it is active in VTube Studio. So we're going to go ahead and do that tutorial. It's very quick, I promise. If yours is already set up or automatically connected because you use VTube Studio with some other plugins, then you can go ahead and skip ahead, but we're going to do that real quick so we can get you all set up, and then we'll do the body fun stuff. Okay, so in order to have access to the Prism Closet, you have to match it with the VTube Studio API. Again, like I said earlier, this is very simple, very quick, very simple, very quick. We're going to go ahead and double flute clapping in the background. We're going to go ahead and double click on VTube Studio. Go to the cogwheels, beautiful little pink button. Beautiful little pink button right here. Go ahead and click that. It should automatically open to the general settings. If not, you're going to click this primary cogwheel all the way in the far left hand corner. You're going to see this pop up as the menu, and we're going to go ahead and scroll down through here. You're going to go past the connection settings, past USB connections, right to this window right here that says VTube Studio plugins with this cute little cat. If this is not already toggled on, you are going to want to toggle it on. Now, if you see requests received as a high number, that's okay. It's going to happen. Ignore it. None of this down here really matters. Let's be fair. None of this down here really matters. You can manage your plugins. For example, I currently have vBridger, Stream Deck, and this Prism Closet connected, so I can manage those and how to navigate those if you want to do that later. But for the sake of this tutorial, just turn this on. When you turn this on, then close this out. And you're going to then go ahead and open up the Prism Closet. That little notification is going to pop up. There'll be a little refresh button. Go ahead and press refresh, and you should get an automatic pop-up within VTube Studio that says something along the lines of allow this API, and you're going to click allow. In order for this to work, you need to click allow, and then you're all done. Now to get into the fun body stuff. Okay, now we've set up the Prism Closet. We're going to go ahead and open up that window. Should have stayed open, but we're going to open it up again for you guys to see it. So as you can see in here, you're going to have the model loads. I do have two 2K models in here. This one is technically my 4K. I'm not fixing it on my end because I know what it is. But you should only have one is either going to be your 2K or your 4K. And then you're going to go over to clothing. This is kind of where all the magic is going to begin, right? This is where it's going to manage all of that fun stuff for you and go ahead and get it set up for your body. You can see my head over here is the 4K. This is the glitch that I'm experiencing, and I'm not changing it because I don't care. Anyway, There are currently 5 active bodies in the closet. I am showing 10. That is because I have loaded both the 4K and the 2K versions into the closet. You should only have one or the other. If you have both, cool. We're twins. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and load this Prism Miku, mostly because for Lyralei, I feel like this fits a bit more. However, if you want to have just a standard outfit, kind of like what Prism has had over the first version, I recommend using the Prism Original and then using the Prism Pajama, Punk, and Christmas as something a little like extras. But for the sake of this video and tutorial and simplicity, we're going to use this Miko version. Now, the Prism model, the Prism Original, is where you're going to have the most creativity and most options for your clothing based off of sleeves, tops variations, bottoms variations, waist variations, shoes, and all of that. You're going to have that more consistently and variety in the original. Each of these specialty bodies like the Miku, Punk, Christmas, and Pajama have about max 4 options per toggle, per like shirt and top cover. You can still do some other things here and there to make it personalized for you, such as coloring and all that. But for the variety of options, the original is going to be your best bet. We're going to stick with Miku right now because I feel like it's going to fit Lyralei's Dami Mommy, but also magical girl vibes. We're going to go and select this. And as you see, as it loads, if it's the right one, yay, it loaded. We had some issues earlier. We're going to go ahead and you're going to see it. It should automatically attach to the neck of your head, and they should connect to each other. Now, again, if you're having an issue with this and you already currently have the V1 version and you've uploaded your V1 version into V2 and your head's not connecting, go ahead and skip ahead. We'll do those bugs there. But for the purpose, we're going to continue with just customizing this as is, and we'll go forward with that. Any bugs that you may be experiencing, if you're having the head over the face or any issues where it's not connecting properly, we'll go over later in the video. But we're going to go ahead and go into how you customize this body. Real quick, before we get into the fast forward bit, we're going to go ahead and name this expression because I've already created the character. That is Lyralei, and I was saying my own character's name wrong because I don't know how to read. Hi, I'm Jared. I'm 19 and I don't know how to read. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and name this expression right off the bat. So you can choose to name it before or after, but because the character is already created, I am going to just name this right off the bat. Please make sure you do that so that way you can save the expression into the montage. Hi, post-editing Laynne here to talk to you guys. I realized that I didn't show you actually how to get to the item customizations for this body, so we're gonna go ahead and show you that real quick. Yeah, sorry about that. This is also the Christmas I don't want to re-record. This is the Christmas outfit, so if you wanted to customize a Christmas outfit, anyway, we're gonna go ahead. I'm going to show you how to get to those item customization settings real quick before we get into that montage. So in VTube Studio, you're going to go ahead and double click the screen so you can get into your VTube Studio settings. Go ahead and click on this green button here all the way at the end called Configure Loaded Items. And then, you know, in the tutorial, we're using the Miku outfit, but because I'm adding this later, we're going to go ahead and use this. It does say Prism_clothes Xmas. You want to make sure that you're using the one that says clothes, or if you're editing any of the tails or wings or anything like that, you want to make sure that you click on the correct item and then press select. Once you're in this section here, you are then going to scroll down until you find the expression controls and click on this configure button right here and press create new expression and then select. I have already done it, and because I'm using the 4K, it's going to take too long to load, so just trust me, click it. And then we'll go ahead and get into the montage so you can kind of see, just like you would do with the head, the montage for customizing that Miku body for Lyralei. you are done at making the customizations to your body. And we're going to go ahead, make sure it is named. If it is not named, you cannot save, but we're going to go ahead and save these right here by clicking save. It is going to go back to the default. I know you can see my boots aren't because I've already set something up. But before closing out of this, do not press done. We're going to go ahead and make that expression that you just turned on as the only active expression, so that way you do not have to toggle it, but it does set it up every time you open up this particular body from the closet. We do that by clicking on turn expressions on/off and go ahead and press select here. I have already toggled it on. It does come default off for your character, but that expression that you just created within the item, if you go ahead and turn that on, it is automatically going to turn it on. You can set a particular hotkey if you wish. However, I do not plan on making any other versions of this for Lyralei, so I do not need to set a hotkey for this. But if you plan on having different models or different characters, or even just a different outfit in this style for your character, you can go ahead and set up a hotkey by clicking this keyboard button over here and setting those hotkeys and pressing done. But again, I am not going to be doing that, so I'm going to just keep Lyralei selected on and go ahead and press OK. And then we can go ahead and press done. And then everything is all set up. At this point, you don't have to do anything else. We're going to go ahead, though, and go into OK. Press this OK button. My phone was blocking it. I didn't know what it said. I had to look. I'm sorry. That is if you want everything to be perfectly fine. I am not going to press OK because I'm going to do some art meshes. So I would like to change these Sakura colors here, as well as this fluffy thing. I want to get that changed and change some scars on my face. There's going to be two different things, but for the sake of this outfit, since I'm already in these settings, I'm going to go ahead and edit these meshes. And you do that for an item, which is what this body is, by selecting set art mesh color tint by selecting these colors here. Sometimes it does take a few minutes to load. So once it gets loaded, we're going to do a little bit of a montage and then we'll move on to the next bit. So enjoy this art mesh editing montage. I was going to do this all in one, but I decided to record this in case you want to change any art meshes on your face within VTube Studio. I'm going to tell you how to do that as well. So yeah, I was just going to include it, but I might as well do a tutorial since this is a full tutorial anyway. Double click in VTube Studio, go to your cogwheel settings and go over to the model settings in here. Now, Akizone and Akizone and Mizi have said that it is okay to mess with these art meshes. But before you do any art meshing on models or anything like that, please make sure that you are confirming it with your artist and rigger that they are okay with this first, because it does essentially alter the work. So we're going to go ahead and click on Customize Model after clicking on the model settings, which is this little person with a cogwheel above its head, like they're thinking. And we're going to go and click on Customize Model. And we're going to click on Customize Multiply Screen Color for Art Meshes and then Select. And now we're going to go, as soon as I press Select, we're going to go ahead and go into another mini montage where I'm going to edit these art meshes that I want for these the face, the model, which is just the head, to kind of be slightly different. So enjoy that montage. And that is pretty much what it's going to be for all of them. So any of the bodies that you use from the closet or even the items, that is how you're going to customize all of them. All of them are going to be the same. They're going to have different things that you can kind of choose between. However, setting them up is the same for all of them between the original Miku, Pajama, Punk, and Christmas. I know it's a little overwhelming, but overall it is pretty simple once you get used to it. Now, what's really cool about this closet, rather than offloading items in VTube Studio like you would, you use this closet to unload and reload items. And because we set up that expression, if I were to unload this body from Lyralei and then reload it, that saved expression is going to be there along with all of the art mesh changes that we made. So it is pretty cool in that sense. But that is going to be the end of the tutorial on how to use the Prism version 2. So I hope that helped if you are a new VTuber. We're going to go ahead then and go into the portion on how to essentially transfer your data over if you had the version 1 of Prism model transferred over into version 2, as well as do some bug fixes. Now, if you did not have any bugs happen or you didn't see anything happen while you were creating your model in version 2 for the first time, do not worry, you can go ahead and skip all the way to the end because that's what this next part is going to be. But if you did experience some bugs and you kind of want to know how to fix those, we're going to go ahead and go through those. So please feel free to stick around. If you have a version 1 of the Prism model and you are having those bugs or want to know how to transfer version 1 to version 2, that is what we are going to do next. Okay, so real quick, because I did spend so much time on Lyralei Abyssal, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys real quick what she looks like without the black background, and in my normal background. Put one in the comments if you guys would like to see Lyralei Abyssal. We did create lore, and by we, I have some amazing members of my community of the talkies who have been sitting in this call with me while I've been recording these. Have been amazing, so shout out to my talkies. But if you guys would like to see Abyssal, Miss Abyssal and Lyralei maybe as her own thing, let me know. I'll figure something out if you want to see her more. But real quick, we're going to go ahead and hide this, and we're going to switch the model so you guys can see what she looks like as just herself without the black background. So, yay, I did a tutorial, baby. Okay. All right. We love her. We leave her alone right now. We love her. We leave her alone. Now is the part of the video where I tell you and show you how to convert your version 1 Prism model to version 2. And there's going to be another mini tutorial at the end on how to convert your version 2 for their latest update. So please stick around. It's December 22nd and they just released a new update. So I'm finishing recording this video today as well. Might as well include it. Yeah. Okay, on to how to convert your version 1 to version 2. So the first step in updating from version 1 to version 2 is obviously downloading version 2. Just like we did at the beginning of this video for new users, you would get a notification from VGen or Coffee letting you know that there is updated files for you to download for the Prism model. If you have not already done so, make sure to download that file directly from Ko-fi or from VGen. Once you have done that, if you go into your downloads folder, you will see a zip file for this update. And that zip file is going to be named custom_prism_v2. And that is what you are going to then open. Once you open that, you are going to see a lovely little notepad that is going to say it's not going to talk to you, but you're going to read it, and it's going to have a Google Drive link and a note for what was fixed, as well as any additional notes from either Akizone or Mizi. With that being said, you're going to then copy and paste that Google Drive link into your preferred browser source and go to it. Now, if you're using Google Chrome like I did, it automatically scans for viruses when you click download. It is going to pop up saying that it couldn't scan it. This is due to the size. do not worry. It is not going to cause a virus on your PC. It is safe to download. Once you have downloaded that, you will then see in your downloads another zip file called custom_prism v2.0. When you open up that file, you're going to see two files in there as well, the custom Prism version 1.04 old version and Prism v2, along with the read first document. If you go ahead and open up that read first document, it is going to advise you if you are new to streaming or VTube Studio to use version 1. But it also says in there that if you want to continue receiving Prism updates along with the plan, you are going to do version 2. We touched base on this briefly at the beginning of the video, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Much like the beginning of this video as well, you are going to copy those folders and put them in your backup folder. Mine is a bit more complicated because there's so many updates with Prism since I have had it. I have an entire Prism folder, but you're going to go ahead and copy that in there and all of its files. Now, with this update, there are a few things that we have to touch base on in order for this to kind of work properly. Now, the first thing that you are going to note, well, you, me, whoever, the first thing that we're going to note about this update is you are going to want to go into your VTube Studio folder for the actual VTube Studio program, not your backup one. Because of the way that this update is and with the new application integration, there is some issues with naming your models and this new application recognizing the Prism model. So if you are kind of bouncing like I am between version 1 and version 2, I'm going to give myself some time to kind of get used to version 2 before I actually put it into practice. But if you're going to be bouncing between them, you do kind of have to be mindful of the naming and the situation of these files. So if you want to kind of have a little less issues with the Prism model going forward, when you go into your VTube Studio folder for your currently existing Prism model, you might want to change this to a different name in that file for version 1 specifically, if you intend on keeping version 1. I personally changed it to the folder for it for Prism Custom Model. I was able to kind of get it all in there underneath, not having the word main, and just kind of have that still cohesively within VTube Studio without interfering with the new application, the Prism Closet. Now, if you are solely using the Prism version 2, you should not have to worry about this, but if you have any other Prism name miles, you have to make sure that when you input this into VTube Studio, you do not change the file name of this folder. The reason being is because the new application that was used is only recognizing and identifying the model by this name. It is picking it out specifically from the name within the folder. So it is really, really important that when you paste things over and try to organize things to your liking, that you do not change the name of the file folder for your model, at least within the live 2D folder of the application. You can do it in VTube Studio from what I've found, but it is important to not change it in the actual file folder in your streaming assets live 2D models folder for VTube Studio. Time to actually add the version 2 of the Prism model to live 2D Studio folders. Now, like I had said earlier in the video, I do recommend having multiple File Explorer tabs. If it's easier for you for Windows to keep track of them, go ahead and do that. I like having tabs. So we're in the downloads file still. Again, we have downloaded the version 2 Prism model, and we have extracted those folders from our downloads to our backup file. Yay! Next, we are going to we're going to go into the custom Prism V2 folder where you are going to see the 2K and 4K and the main 2K and the main 4K. We're going to, for this moment, ignore the 2K and 4K folders because those are going to be added to items later. Just like at the beginning, if you were brand new to it, we're going to go ahead and choose the 2K or 4K that you prefer and paste it into your live 2D models folder for the streaming assets of VTube Studio for the actual program. Now, like I mentioned earlier with that notice, we do have to make sure that if you have any other Prism custom models in here, that the name is changed. Not for this actual file, the custom underscore prism underscore main underscore whatever quality you're doing. You want to leave that the same, but any other Prism models, you do want to label them either old version or change the name of them, because it can cause some issues communicating with this secondary application, Prism Closet. So once you get those all converted, we are then going to do the same thing for the items. We're going to take the 2 or 4K folders, open them up entirely from your backups, go into your live 2D model streaming assets for VTube Studio, go to your items folder, and from your backups, whether you're choosing 2K or 4K items, you want to Control A to select all of those other folders, Control C to copy, and then in the items folder for VTube Studio, press Control V and get those pasted in there. You have now successfully downloaded and converted, or not downloaded, not converted, you have downloaded and implemented the version 2 custom model into VTube Studio. Now we're going to go to actually converting your previous version 1 into version 2, which is pretty simple. So now we are going to convert your version 1 model to version 2. Don't worry, this is actually pretty simple. And I still recommend having your file explorer multiple tabs open for the sake of simplicity. That's normally what I do. But if you're okay with closing them out and reopening it to another file and finding it, good on you. So one thing I would like to add before this, we are going to do these in 2 different steps. So you're going to have to do this multiple times for your character, one for the body and one for the outfit. We are going to start with the body first. So going into your previous version 1 Prism model, you're going to locate the folder for that model and open it up. Then locate the expressions folder and open that up. In this, you're going to see all the expressions that you made for your version 1 Prism model. You're going to locate your primary expression. Do not copy any of the outfits at this moment. If you've made any additional outfits, if you've made any additional characters, you do want to copy those and bring those over as well. But we are going to focus right now on the face, the base of the model, which is going to be the face. So with that being said, go through your expressions, be mindful of what you named them so you can copy the right ones. You can select multiple files in this by selecting Control and then selecting the files you wish to copy, and then Control C for that copy. For me, I have 2 characters in this at the moment that I do have their face that I need to have transferred over. So I am going to select both of those real quick by selecting one, pressing Control, selecting the other, and pressing Control C to copy those files. Now, you want to move those then over without touching anything else. Make sure not to copy, not to paste these. If you haven't done so already, I would recommend copying, when you copy these, to also paste these to your backup folder if you haven't done so already, so you can find them easier again later down the road should you need to, or God forbid something happens. Then you are going to go into the custom underscore prism underscore main and then your quality folder and select the expressions in that folder as well. You will then do Control V to paste those copied files into the expressions folder. The reason that I say just do this portion is because you're going to have to do this again for the outfits. However, we are just focusing on the base, which is the face, like I said earlier. And if you have different outfits, there's no point in copying those over because Prism version 2 is just a floating head. So all of those outfits, expressions that you may have made separately, it's not necessary for you to transfer them over if you're using the same face for all those outfits like I do, because it's not going to do much of anything in the actual base of the model. So next we are going to go on to copying those outfit looks over to version 2 as well, which is slightly more complicated, but we're going to do that as well. Okay, now in order for you to transfer over the outfits that you have made, if you've made multiple outfits for your model, this is where things are going to get a little bit more complicated, because you kind of have to go into several different folders, and if you're not paying attention, it could kind of get a little confusing. So either in your backups or your version 1 of the Prism model, you're going to want to go in there. Again, click on the model and then go into the expressions. If you have labeled your outfits much like I have as outfit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or by a name, and you're aware of what those are, you are going to have to find those in the expressions as well. Do the same thing you did if you had multiple characters. Select the files, press Control, and select all the applicable files you wish to transfer over to the version 2. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated, because remember where I said earlier, you don't want to post them into the actual base model. So what we're going to do is, instead of going into the base model for version 2, we're going to actually go back to the streaming assets folder of the VTube Studio data. You are then going to locate the items folder, and because these are all labeled Prism and it's automatically sorted by alphabetical order, you can scroll down pretty easily and find all of the Prism bodies, or aka items, for this new version. With that being said, because of the way that these are labeled, this is why I said you have to make sure that you're paying a bit closer attention. Because there are 5 different bodies, you're gonna see 5 different folders with Prism ACC, like Prism underscore ACC underscore the name of the outfit and then the quality. So you're going to want to make sure that you're paying a close attention, because the previous version, you were going to post these in the original outfits for the bodies. So you're going to find the file folder that says Prism underscore close underscore original underscore 2 or 4K. Once you have found that file folder, you're going to go ahead and open that up, and you're going to see a bunch of stuff like you would if it was a regular model. You're going to you're going to click and open up the expressions folder, and then in here is where you're going to then paste those files that you have already copied for the outfits. This is where the outfits are going to matter the most, because if you put them in the base model, they're not going to show up because there's no body. The new bodies, if you post them in the new bodies, they're not going to generate properly, because the new bodies are not going to have the same customizations that the original has. So your original outfit, all of that is going to go into there. Now, if you do have any textures or like explicit things, like for me personally, I had a ring texture made for my model that I am going to have to transfer over. However, the hands have kind of moved a little bit for the texture. So on my end, I have to get some information on how I'm supposed to replace that texture. But from what I understand, all of the other textures for the clothing should match up. So make sure that if you have any specialized textures for your outfits, that you go into then the folder that is going to be labeled as the name of the outfit. So Prism underscore clothes underscore original .4096. That's going to be your textures file. And you want to replace those textures in the file to the ones that you've had custom made for those to show up for your model on the version 2. So now you've transferred everything over. The next thing you're going to have to do, obviously, is open up VTube Studio and kind of play around with it. Now, if you are switching everything that I talked about earlier in the video, it's not going to be much different, other than you kind of have to now get used to using your hotkeys for each individual body as an item, which means they're not going to be set up like you would normally do in VTube Studio with the hotkey settings for the model, but more so for the individual items. With that also being said, with this update too, it came with some pretty awesome new expressions. We have new expressions for you guys to see, such as like avoid, you can eat a fish. There's an eating rig in there, loading, nose bubbles, pout, sleeps, wary, white. They have a lot of different pretty interesting facial expressions that you can now use, which is really cool and really amazing. The rigging has been fixed in a lot of areas, so if you are transferring over, they do recommend you not to do an auto setup for your parameters because they have changed some things. Now, I have used that, and it worked fine for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for everybody. I just don't want to spend another month trying to figure out parameters and bases, so I started with what I had before, and I'll be tweaking it as I go along. If that is something that you would like to do, if you want to start over from the beginning, that is entirely up to you. Although, again, Akizone and Mizi did say to not do that. So, yeah, now we have a closet over here for the Prism model, so you can change your outfit a bit easier. You can still make outfits and have a good time with the original body, like you have with the version 1, but now we have, like I said, the closet, which is much easier to navigate for different styles of clothing, like their pajamas, their punk style, Christmas, and Miku. So that's pretty great. It'll be fun. Yeah, so that's kind of all it. Like I said earlier too, there is an update that came out today, December 22nd. I don't know the time. Don't ask me. I just know that it came out today. So the new update came out today, much like we did for converting your version 1 to version 2. You're going to do the same thing with transferring all of those expressions over either to the item for your bodies or your model. But this is where things kind of get a little bit different, and we're going to also get into some bug reports and kind of how you can fix those on your own. Now into some pretty common bugs that we have seen. Now, again, as I mentioned briefly earlier, it is December 22nd, and there was a new update that came out for the Prism model / closet that is supposed to be fixing these bugs. But back to the bugs. So a very common bug that has been happening with this model has been the body, or the item, which is the body, appearing in front of your head. Now, it has been a pretty common issue within this version 2 that it is because of a naming issue. And I think it has more to do with the fact that this new application that Akizone and Mizi created for the bodies, called Prism Closet, is searching within the VTube Studio folders, specifically for the file name. So when you rename that file, it's causing issues with the item attaching to the head, like the item, aka body, attaching to the base model, aka the head. So with that being said, if you are experiencing that issue, it is a pretty quick fix. All you have to do is go back and rename the file to the original file name, which is custom _ prism _ main _ the quality, and I'll make sure to put that up on the screen for you as well. So that's going to be one bug fix. The next bug that also kind of has to do with the naming feature, So, I personally didn't have this issue, but it did happen to a friend of mine because of the way that I transfer the files. If you are seeing that the Prism Closet is loading, it's recognizing the bodies, but it's not recognizing that your model is in there. It is because one of the file folders was transferred over separately. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to keep things in folders nice and tight, but apparently I can't do that, at least not the way that I use it to keep track of things. So if you have your folder, you cannot transfer over the custom _ prism _ v2.0 folder into the live 2D models folder. You will have to make sure that you extract that custom _ prism _ main _ the resolution of your model into the live 2D models folder. So that should relieve that issue if you are not seeing the model in the closet, and you would like to. So there's a couple of other small bugs in there, such as with the Christmas shoes and the way that they kind of line up. There is some fixes in the Discord. So if you're not in the Prism Discord, I would recommend going into there. Another useful tip for this Prism model as well. So with the addition of the bodies, it is a bit confusing when it comes to the body parameters because each body is a new item. There, you do kind of have to reset all of the parameters from the body to the new body. However, Measy has stated that you can do this by making a general body proportion type expression and copying that into the other items folder expressions or the bodies in the live 2D, not live 2D models folder, the items folder of the VTube Studio program folders, which is extremely useful so you don't have to redo everything every time a new body comes out. So I would highly recommend looking into doing that as well. Just create a one toggle in one body and then copy that expression and have it just be the body, no clothes, no editing, nothing. Just there's a nude option in all of these. So also be careful not to do that on stream. But there's a nude option for all of these outfits, so you can just make an expression for that's completely nude, that is just the body proportions and how you want things kind of set up for the body proportions that way, and just copy those expressions, that .json file, the JSON, I call it JSON, that's not what it is, but the .json file into each file folder for the body proportions for the each body for your model. So that's a pretty cool quick fix. But with that being said as well, like I said, there was a new update today that should fix a lot of those bugs. If you're experiencing any other bugs, like I mentioned earlier, go ahead and join that Prism, it's called Project Prism Discord for reporting those, and Measy's pretty active in there as well as some other people who have some really good fixes for those bugs that should appear or may appear later down the road for any other future updates or ones that you're currently experiencing. But that is kind of all that I wanted to go over. So for users who are transferring from version 1 to version 2, I know that your section was a lot smaller, but that's because a lot of the things that we have to do from version 1 to version 2 are pretty much the same thing as if you were starting all over again. You just have to copy and paste a lot of your expressions and stuff like that. So down in the description box, like I said, there's going to be some amazing links for how to kind of go about using this new update in Prism V2. I know I'm going to have still in there for if you wish to not use the extra application for the bodies, but use the items and have a item hotkey setting that way for transferring to the outfits quickly. I'll have her video linked down below. Their video, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Their video linked down below along with Vesper Nestia's tutorials down there. She's got a couple that she has made for version 2, like setting up parameters, as well as a audio only tutorial for navigating version 2. So if you're more of an auditory learner and you don't need the visuals, that is a great one. And then once I'm able to obtain it, there is somebody who is making a tutorial on kind of how you can mix and match, because at the moment the different bodies you cannot mix and match elements from like the punk outfit to the original outfit or from the Miku outfit to the punk outfit or something like that. So there is a way to do it, but they said it's extremely time consuming and tedious, but they are working on potentially doing a tutorial for that. So if that is out and I have access to it, I will be making sure to put that in the description box below as well. But yeah, so I appreciate you taking time to watch this rather long video. I really hope it helped to either convince you to get the Prism model or helped you kind of guide your way through navigating version 2. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, share with your friends, maybe somebody else who is having a little bit of trouble with version 2 for Prism, or just like the video. Watching it is also fantastic. So I appreciate you guys so much. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends, as it helps the channel grow. Also, let me know if you guys want to see Lyralei. If you want to see Lyralei and her own thing, maybe I'll think about it. But have a great day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. May all of your dreams become reality.